Richard, why do valuers often make poor branch managers? Talk to me.
Great question, Chris. And it's an interesting habit that we seem to have got into in the industry in the UK, particularly since I started a while ago, 25
There you
plus
go.
minus years ago. And there seems to be this reward system for success, which is only targeted towards hierarchy, as if management, area manager, area director, sales director is the target. That's the sort of bar that what people are
Yeah,
aiming
it's
for.
almost when we joined in the 90s, and I still, as estate agents, and I still see it today, that only decent valuers that can convert tend to get made to branch managers. But a great valuer doesn't necessarily make a decent branch manager, does it?
A great value does not always make a great branch
Okay.
manager.
And a great branch manager doesn't make a great area manager.
100%. And similarly, a great footballer does not make a great football club manager.
Why is that?
Completely different skill set.
Okay.
Completely different skill set. Now, that's not to say that being a great estate agent won't serve you as a good manager.
Definitely, I know some really good valuers that have made the transition over to branch managers.
Yeah.
But I also know some red hot valuers that are absolutely atrocious at running a team.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And that happens.
Why?
Training would probably be one issue, and they're different skill sets. Somebody may have been trained on a valuing course or several valuing courses throughout their career.
Being outward going sort of people person, because those are the skills that you need.
Charismatic,
Yes.
enrolling, people like them, they're keen to serve, and however, when it comes to managing people, you've got to be able to deal with conflict. You've got to be able to lead. You've got to create a safe space for people. They're completely different skills. And while in agency we're really getting up to speed with training these days, it's not like it used to be. There's still something in that you can't
I'd have to disagree with you. I think we're appalling as an industry. I think the corporates are pretty good at it,
Yes,
but independents atrocious,
independence.
or most of them are.
Yeah,
Why?
I am not sure if independents quite yet see the value in training. And that's not to say that all of them don't, because I know some very good 3, 5, 10 branch independent estate agents that do regular in-house outsourced training.
Okay, yes, but let's be frank, Richard. There's not many 3-5 branch networks. The average number of branches is 1.2. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of estate agents are single branch. I feel sorry for these negs and valuers in the one or two branch networks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Because
it's
most of
tough.
you do training. Is most of your business in the 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 branch networks, or one branch network?
It's at the moment it's a mixture between sort of 1 to 5 branch networks, and what I've experienced over the last year or so is that owners of 1 to 2 branch networks, estate agents, fall into the trap of I do the training,
Yeah,
I was a great valuer,
yeah.
I show the guys what to do. And there is some value in that. However, a company owner should be running their company. They shouldn't be the trainer. And there's something in training, which is why obviously large corporate estate agents, small and medium sized companies in the UK economy do it anyway, is that if I worked for you, you had an estate agent, you're the branch manager, you're sitting 6 feet behind me, and you take me and a couple of the other guys from our other branches on a 1-day workshop. It's inspiring, it's motivating, it's empowering. We get back into our branches, and 24, 48 hours later, I'm doing something because my brain's still processing it. I'm still creating the new habit, and I do something that you showed me not to do or to do differently in the training, or empowered me, inspired me to do it differently. and I do it the old way. As I put the phone down, Richard, that's not what I showed you, and it creates this space of slightly uncomfortable, a little bit of pressure, a little bit kind of like I can't be relaxed, I can't be myself, therefore I can't express myself, so people aren't going to warm to me as quickly, and I'm just not going to create the results I want.
Okay, so, but then the other side of the coin is you send someone on a training course, but the boss doesn't come along, and then you come back and say, this is what we were taught, and the boss says, well, we don't do it that way.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's some companies out there that offer that type of training. You know, come to us and be the best lister in town after a day with us, and they go back and they start sprouting on about this, that, and the other, and the owner's sitting there and thinking, well, we don't do it like that. You know, exactly like you say. And there's still a demand for that training, and it is effective. You know, that linear learning.
I mean, what's
type
your
training.
opinion on estate agency training? You, when we were talking before we set off, you said you had more of a holistic approach, not a linear approach to training.
Yeah.
What does that exactly mean?
So the training that I offer at EA Life is exactly like you say. It's more holistic. It's not so linear in the training. It's almost what we call ontological in the
What the hell does that
learning.
mean?
So ontological ontology
We're dealing with
is
estate agents here.
ontology is the study of the nature of how we do things. Okay.
Okay.
So
the context
the
of how
context, why we're doing what we're doing, why be an estate agent? What difference is it going to make to you if you use an estate agent or stick it in Gumtree or put an ad in the local newsagent that your house is
Are we
for
not
sale?
very good at that as an industry?
I'm not sure that if we're not very good at it, but I think there's a huge opportunity for estate agents to discover that. So for estate agents to discover newly, not that they don't get the responsibility, but to come on a course and discover newly the responsibility that it is to be an estate agent, the opportunity it is, and dare I say it, the excitement that it is to be an estate agent, and take that back to one's office.
Okay. What advice would you have for valuers out there where you know they know damn well their boss is not going to pay for any training? And I know you do train valuers to become branch managers. So if there's any forward-thinking branch managers, he's your man. Other trainers are available. But what advice would you give to valuers who are not going to get any training from their boss? What can they do to help themselves?
So here comes the plug. So my training is available in open seminars. Okay, so we run that several times a year. So if you want to book a day's holiday and put yourself on the training and develop your career, and I was very keen to set that up when I set the business up, so that people who were in businesses who weren't getting invested in, weren't necessarily getting the love that they were looking for, could send themselves on a
And
training
what do they
course.
cost then?
So those training courses are just under £200. They're not expensive.
But you're investing in yourself. It's interesting, in Australia, the valuers and the negs actually pay to go hundreds and hundreds of pounds each year to train themselves. But in the UK, we don't take personal responsibility.
We don't, and I think the shift is starting.
It is. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing more and more people, valuers of their own volition and their own taking money out of their own pocket to train themselves?
What I am seeing is that the industry as a whole is getting the value, is starting to get the value in training. You know, if I send 3 guys onto this course, and I just want to come back to a point that you addressed earlier, where if somebody comes on a course and the owner doesn't come on the course, and the negotiator does, and the valuer does, and the manager does. So the way our courses are set up are that we encourage everybody to come on our first course, for instance, the skillful agent. So, Mr. Owner, you come along and do the course. Mr. Trainee Negotiator, you come along and do the course, and everybody in between, maybe not on the same day, comes along and does the course. To everybody.
Okay. But of course you're going to say that. You're selling more spaces.
You are selling more spaces, but at the same time, it's like any training. You know, if you've got a Formula One team, okay, and the 2 guys at the back who are changing the wheels at the pit stop go and do a training day, and then the 2 guys at the front don't go and do the training day,
Even though they're more experienced, or
even though they're more experienced, or even if the pit manager, if there was one, pit director, doesn't go on the course but sends the guys changing the wheels on the course, it's just not going to have as much value, you know, and we really want to empower agents.
Okay. Is there anyone else on the internet that you could recommend people go and have a look at? So let's just say that money's tight and they can't even afford to come on your training. Is there anyone that you would recommend people follow for some guidance and support?
But I think you send out a good message. If I'm honest, I think it's, you know, it's client centric, it's service centric, and I think those are the things that
I wasn't expecting that.
well, that's how it is, you know. And I myself, you know, only left full time agency 18 months ago, and I'm very.
Because you worked for some of the big boys, didn't you?
I've worked for some of the big corporates, some of the big companies, and I had that very typical journey that a lot of agents have, which is corporate the first half of the career, where even back then there was good training, management, KPI, P&Ls, a little bit of leadership training. But being straight with you, what really happened where my training and coaching came in was I was introduced to a training and development course myself about 14 years ago. I was dragged along to one of these American happy clappy weekend courses that was never for me. I'm not into that type of thing. And I decided to go along, and it had a profound impact on me. It lit this light for me, where I really have been on a mission for the last 14 years and looking at what makes a real difference for people.
Well, in the series of videos, which will be on my YouTube channel, we can go through all this in a lot more detail if you don't mind.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Thanks.